Welcome to the table. I'm here today joined by Melody, Rachel and Shona, and we have a special guest today. Before I start though, I do need to let you know we are talking about a sensitive topic today that may trigger some emotions for you. We're talking about stranger danger and child sexual abuse. Our special guest today is Johanna. Johanna, thanks so much for joining us. Now, you're a social worker and you deal with child sexual abuse and adult survivors, that's correct?
That's correct.
So just before we get into this, can you provide us with a definition of what sexual or child sexual abuse is?
It's when a child is sexually abused, and that can be for just touching, penetration of it by an adult.
And what are some of the statistics out there? Because you hear a lot, 1 in 4 women are abused before the age of 18, and in New Zealand I think it's 1 in 3. Are these true statistics?
Yes.
It sounds like a lot.
In New Zealand it's 1 in 3, and in Australia it's a 1 in 5 child.
You don't think that is going to be that bad, actually, but that's really horrendous statistics.
Yeah, the statistics are pretty high. There is no current Australian ones that we can really base it on, but that's what people are estimating at the moment.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because it's not something that gets reported.
No, that's right.
Very often.
That's right.
But why do you think that's the case? Why don't people talk about it more?
Mainly because of the guilt and shame that comes with it, and the shame of if they have been abused as a child, the guilt and they have been controlled not to say anything.
And do they think anything will happen? Like, what's in it? What will actually happen if I actually tell someone?
Well, you've got to think about it for someone to maintain the control of another person, they have to have been threatened. So the child normally will keep a secret because they're scared that something will happen to their parents, to themselves, or to their family.
How do you teach a child? He's only 11th month, or my son right now, so I'm really interested. How do you actually teach him not to realise that threats won't hurt? Like, not to take the threat seriously, I guess.
Well, the most important thing is teaching your children about protective behaviours. So I think it's important to actually start teaching your child early about...
How early?
As soon as you can start teaching them about what's important, of what's appropriate touch, what's not appropriate touch. Appropriate touch is when you go to the doctor and the doctor needs to see you and touch you. That's a safe touch. But then there are unsafe touches, so you need to distinguish it. Even though getting a vaccination, they're getting touched, but it's something vital for them and they don't like it, but it is an important touch. So it's teaching them to distinguish between what's safe touch and an unsafe touch early as they're growing up.
And there's probably a need to tell them to distinguish between a safe touch between a safe person.
That's right.
Is there a difference?
There are. You also need to be aware that most parents do know who their offender is. So currently, Bravehearts has a statistics on 80%.
Wow.
That most parents do know who the offender is, so it's never really the
So we're
stranger.
teaching stranger danger, but it's really someone familiar.
It's someone we know.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly.
So that comes to grooming, doesn't it?
That's right.
So what's the definition of grooming?
So grooming is basically when an adult seeks a relationship with a child in order to gain a sexual relationship.
So that could be face-to-face or via internet, phones.
That's right.
Or...
So face-to-face is... as adults, if you want to know to distinguish it, when you see an adult targeting a specific child, giving them special attention, they make the child feel really special. So they usually target vulnerable children, and a vulnerable child is normally someone who's lonely, who has low self-esteem, who is struggling. And so they will target, and then they'll start giving them special gifts, showering them with, attention.
Do the parents get groomed as well in this?
That's right.
Oh, really?
That's right. They befriend the parents, so the parents, they become entrusted family, part of the family.
Do you find that even kids who are from families, maybe a stable family, they're still able to get groomed? Because you mentioned...
Sexual abuse doesn't target anybody. It can go for any class, social economics, whether you have money, don't have money, it can happen to anybody.
So if you had a 3-year-old, what would you teach a 3-year-old?
Basically, at 3, you should I'd be teaching my 3-year-old what I mentioned before, what's a safe touch and an unsafe touch, and secrets.
Okay.
There are
What about what do you mean by secrets?
Yes, so we've got safe secrets. So a safe secret would be we're going to throw a surprise birthday party.
Okay.
And there it's that's a great secret because at the end, there's something really great going to happen.
And a bad secret?
And a bad secret is one where you're being told this is between us two, and sometimes the child already feels there's something wrong. Something's not right, but they don't know what it is.
It feels icky.
So what if a family member says, this is a secret between us, and it's like, I'm giving you this special treat? How will the kid be able to distinguish, if
Well, you can talk to your children about that sometimes, family members will do that, but they're the type of secret that she needs to share with mum as well.
It sounds like a safe secret is one that will eventually come out into the open.
That's right. Exactly.
Whereas a bad secret is something that will have to be a secret forever.
Ever.
Yeah.
And so when they're grooming, these people will learn to see if a child can keep that secret.
So they'll start with small secrets
That's
and
right.
then build up.
And build it up, and then quickly they'll progress to touching and see how far they can get with that until they go as far as they can go.
Gives me scary goosebumps.
So what tell the difference? I was just saying, how do you tell the difference? Because, this person could just be a really friendly, really caring person and not a groomer. Like, how do you tell the difference?
Well, by that, you could have a look at who are also their friends.
Okay.
If they've got
As in adult
what do you mean?
friends?
adult
or-
friends.
Yeah.
If they've only got friends that are children, then that's a warning sign, I would say. And that's what most if you look at different websites, that's what they say, government websites, have a look that if they have predominantly children as friends, have a look at the age group that they're also befriending, because some people do target just a specific age group.
Right. So what would you teach your 5-year-old?
At 5, you'd be teaching them about, and even at a 3-year-old, you need to just name the parts.
Right.
So this is a vagina, this is a penis, this is my breast. You name the parts. You don't...
No friendly names.
Don't call them not.
You teach your children your proper parts because they need to know what it is.
Yeah.
Because if the offender may also name it a different name, but if they know their names and they know that this person knows what it is, what they're talking about.
And is there any resources out there that parents can sort of get onto? Only because it is a hard topic to sort of broach with your kids. Is there any resources to help parents talk about this topic?
Yes, I like this website called Protective Behaviours Western Australia. They just specialise in teaching parents, organisations on how to approach it. But the best policy is just be honest and always start where the children is. So ask your child, what do they know about sex? Because their friends are probably talking about it, they're hearing it through school, and then you can start at the base where they are at. And then, once you know where they are at, then you can just talk about it. And then you know exactly where they are at with those topics as well.
Is there anything to look for in your child, like if they have been abused? Is there any warning signs at all?
Well, as a parent, myself, you know when your child is sad, don't you? You know when your child's happy and you know their behaviours. So when you see something different in your child, for example, they don't want to go where they normally were happy to go before.
So if they don't want to go to Uncle Jim's place
That's
all of a
right.
sudden?
That's a warning sign. Sit down, why? Start asking them questions. What's going on? Why are you sad? Don't you like going over to Uncle Jim's anymore? So that's one of the things you can start with.
Look, Johanna, thank you so much. You've provided us with lots of information today, and I know you do a really good job. You're right on the front line there, so thank you for what you do and thanks for joining
You're
us
welcome.
today. And look, if there has been anything that has triggered any emotion for you today, by all means contact Braveheart in Australia or Lifeline both in Australia and New Zealand. Thanks for joining us today.